Okay, let's try this again. My name is John Black, Super Chemist. This playlist is called Pastafarian Rules, and also another playlist I'm putting it on called War. We're talking about how there's 3 million Vietnamese died in Vietnam, and only 50,000 Americans, which would be a drop in a bucket compared to 3 million Vietnamese, and yet we lose the war. Why are these wars taking so long and we lose them when they're against a third world country and we are the most powerful country in the world? How does a war last 20 years if they don't want it to? If it isn't designed to last that long? Well, the main reason is rules of engagement. If you're not allowed to take out their munitions, and you're not allowed to take out any of their, military bases, you can only kill people, then what will happen is you'll have a 20-year war, and you will kill off millions of people, but you will never win the war because they always have their weapons. They always have their bombs. They always have their bases. If you don't take the bases and their munitions out, you know what I mean? You just prolong the war forever and ever and ever. Well, the elites make more and more money, and the poor die in wars. Now, I want you to think about this. All terrorist groups, like from the Middle East, these Middle East terrorist group type people, right? All of them, every one of them. There's always an exception to the rule. But every single one of them, 100%, let's say 99%, were not only created by and not only funded by, but also trained by the USA, by the CIA. Yeah. We create because we don't want to go in ourselves sometimes to assassinate people and, change everything around for their government, because we are pieces of shit, man, when it comes to this thing, man. It needs to stop. If you're a Pastafarian, you would care. And you'd be like, no, man, we got to stop this shit, man. But, yeah, we created all the whatevers. And that 1% that we didn't create, fund, and train, they were created because of the United States involvement in the Middle East, always trying to assassinate politicians and basically carve up their country and divide it between the elites for their oil. You know what I mean? Why is it that this crap third world countries in the Middle East, why do everyone says, they're going to the whole world will just crumble if these third world countries, why are these the only third world countries? Why are they the only ones that, there are third world countries in wars every day. Right now, there's probably 30 wars right now between third world countries. Nobody gives a crap. No one says, the first world countries will just crumble to the ground if these third world countries go down. And it's because of the oil, obviously, right? But it's not even about the oil, though. Because if you think about it, we're energy independent. First time with Trump, right? He made us make more oil that we don't even buy oil under Trump. We just make it and we sell it to our allies so that they don't have to buy oil from our enemies and make our enemies rich buying their oil. Now they buy it from us. So now they're not dependent on Russia or China or any of our enemies to get their energy, their heat in the winter, you know what I mean, and their everything. So if you don't do that, right, then if they have to buy their oil off of Russia, now Russia controls them in a way. It controls their policies because they know, hey, if you don't do some of our policies, be not kind to us, then we can always just turn off your oil supply and basically just kill your country that way. So all wars are just a joke, and I'm going to go into that when I'm coming back to this war thing with more videos, but I'm not going to put them on the Pastafarian rules because this is the part I want you to hear. If you want more in-depth stuff, go over to that playlist called Wars, and you will see little by little, I will add to it and show you. You know what I mean? I know I'm just talking now, but I'm going to bring up more facts, like the Prescott Bush thing, because that's a big thing in my discussion when I talk about how the world is, why the world is falling apart, because it starts, well, it doesn't actually start with him, but one of the prongs, because this is a multi-pronged attack against the United States right now. People think it's the Democrats and that they've been infiltrated by the communists, which is slightly true, but there are more prongs coming at us. That's just one prong. You have the feminist prong, you have the WEF prong, you have the CCCP, you know, the Communist Party, the China Communist. Yeah, that's another prong. You have multi-prongs coming to all at the same time to destroy the United States. And they're like getting energy off of each other, you know what I mean, to make their agenda go up, because they have the same agenda pretty much, destroy the United States. So let's see how much time we got left here. Maybe I got 8 minutes, so I'm going to have to babble. Okay, so I'm going to go into just a couple things about like World War I. Why did we get into World War I? The Lusitania, okay, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but the Lusitania was a boat, a ship, giant ship, and I think it had passengers or something like that. It didn't even have no munitions. I'm unsure about that, though. But anyways, in the United States, we have, obviously, we got to get into World War I, right? We got to start everything, right? So that's what our country is basically about, because we let Christians and woke people run everything instead of letting the Pastafarians run stuff. You know, so you can have wars. You let Pastafarians run stuff, no wars, and they all end, and they never have a war again. But anyways, what was I going to say? Oh, okay, the Lusitania. Now, World War I was already going on, right? And in our country, we didn't want to get into it. We were really into pacifism or whatever. How did they get us into it, right? How did they trick us? The Lusitania went into a war area, you know, combat zone, and got blown up. And we had a bunch of people on it. It was our boat, our ship. So, of course, we used that as a catalyst to get us into the war, because they were like, look, they're shooting. We can't even send our boats over there, or ships. They're just going to blow us out of the water. But the truth is, because this was before the internet, right? The entire world knew that that was a combat zone. Okay, the enemy themselves that we went into the war to fight against, they told the United States, they said, don't come into this war zone over here because it's a combat area, all right? So don't come over or we're going to kill you. We don't care if you're the enemy or not. If you're not us, anyone comes into our war zone, we kill, okay? And they said it in newspapers. They said it on the news. So this isn't like a conspiracy theory. The whole world knew. Everyone except the United States, right? Okay? The UK told them. All the countries told us, don't go into that thingy because there's a war going on there. And you know, the evil other side is going to kill you if you come over. And we might do it accidentally because it's a war zone. So what do? We send the Lusitania into the war zone, and then we act surprised. Oh my God! The whole world is laughing at us, right? Because they know, because they just constantly warned us, don't let your ships come into that area or you're going to get killed, you know. But that's what started the war. What about World War II? Every history book, well, no, let me rephrase that. Every history book that's taught in public schools says one thing. The 99.99999% of history books that are not in public schools, they say a different story, okay? The story that's taught in public schools is that we got into World War II because those nasty Japanese came over and they tricked us. They didn't even give us any kind of notice or anything. They came over and bombed Hawaii. and they killed us all, thousands of people, thousands of Americans, from Hawaii. They killed, and they didn't even give us no notice or nothing, and we didn't even do nothing to them. But what was the truth? Because we were really pacifists before World War II, because we just got out of World War I. So we were really like, hey, man, we really don't want to get in another World War. That's crazy talk. So how do they do it? First of all, Japan, the United States government seizes all their, if they had any companies like the Japanese, we have companies in their countries, they have countries, everyone has companies, all the companies the Japanese owned in the United States were seized and just taken. They're just taken. Then they started putting tariffs. Japanese weren't allowed to import anything into the United States. Then they kept doing like 4 or 5 things like that to just basically destroy Japanese economy. You know what I mean? Then, after that, they pissed Japan off. Japan told the whole world, hey, well, we're going to go over and fuck up the United States, man. They've been screwing us around. They take our companies. They take our accounts. They won't let us do any business with them. They tell other countries that they ain't allowed to do business with us. They're cutting off our economy. They're just pieces of crap, man. So we're going to go over and we're going to kill all them Americans, man, because they suck. And so they told the whole world. They themselves told the world, okay? And then in turn, all the rest of the countries told them. And then not only that, this plan for them to come over to Hawaii, everyone knew about it. The whole world knew about it. Everyone knew. Not only did they know, it was advertised. They advertised that they were going to. The Japanese actually advertised that they were doing it. In advance. But there was no internet. You know what I mean? So how else did people in America going to know, right? So they come over and killed that because we didn't notify any, even though we knew about it. And how did we know about it? Well, the enemy told us. Then every country in the world told us. Then they did it. So we could have warned our people in Hawaii, but we didn't do that. Nah, because it would look better if they attacked first. They had to attack first, so we had to force them to attack. Just like Russia and Ukraine, we had to force Russia to attack Ukraine. Otherwise, there would be no war. If we didn't force everyone, they always say, why does Trump, how does he keep us out of wars? How does he do it? Because they're all afraid of, you think Putin's afraid of Trump? He has a freaking entire country and armed forces. He ain't afraid of nobody, okay? He ain't afraid of Trump or no other emperor, president or whatever, dictator. No, he ain't afraid of nobody. He's getting the biggest country in the world, motherfucker. He'll spit on you. He didn't care what you fight. He ain't afraid of nobody. But he's not an idiot either. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to get in wars. All his wars, I'm guessing, are probably forced upon him by the United States. So they can swoop in and make money. You know what I mean? Funding both sides and, everything. It's retarded. But, see how much time we got. Oh, 1 minute. But you can see what I'm saying. It's all just like the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was started because the Vietnamese blew up a bunch of our boats, okay? And then this wasn't even found out like 20 years later. It was found out during the war, like a year later or something. They didn't even stage it. It just never happened. At least usually they stage stuff in most wars. Vietnam War, they didn't even stage it. They just made it up. They said that the Vietnamese blew up a bunch of our ships, and that's why we're going to war. And it never even happened. But if you say it enough times, if you repeat it enough times, humans just think of it as truth. If you say on the news, or you say in the newspapers that the sky is green, a year later, if you say it all the time, a year later, everyone will think the sky is green. They will literally change the definition of the word green to make sure that, their doublespeak makes sense. That's why they changed the definitions of words and stuff, because to make their doublespeak make sense.